We got snookered. We got snookered on missile defense. We got snookered on conventional prompt global strike. We got snookered on tactical nuclear weapons. We got snookered on verification. All of these are issues that we would like to try to deal with in the United States Senate now during this ratification process.
This is Senator Jon Karl, who won't be fooled again on START, certainly not with the Obama administration.
And some of those Democrats who have been negotiating with him for 2 months on this think they might have gotten snookered in thinking that he could have been a yes vote on this. Top Line begins right now.
Welcome to Hotline, everyone. I'm to Hotline. Wow.
Wow, that's good. Flashback.
How did that happen? That was total Freudian slip. Sorry, Top Line. I'm Amy Walter.
And I'm Jonathan Karl.
All right. Every day we bring you, not from the Hotline offices, but here, the ABC offices, Top Line. Every day at noon, the latest, the greatest, unscripted politics show. Jon Karl, what is your Top Line today? You were working all weekend up there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Every minute of the weekend.
Yes.
Not so lame duck. This may go down in history as the most productive lame duck session of Congress ever. It is really, can be said, Amy, that in the last 6 days, this Congress has accomplished more than they accomplished in the last 6 months. Just over the weekend, of course, we had the big vote on Don't Ask, Don't Tell. We had the tax cut deal, of course, go down, passed last week. They are still at it. They want to pass a treaty, the New START treaty with the Russians, ratify that. And, a little 9/11 bill.
So is this just about that they were over the barrel with time, or is this maybe, just maybe, a sign that Congress can get things done in 2011?
Yeah, maybe. Well, no, I definitely wouldn't read that into it.
Don't go that far.
I mean, consider this is the last chance for Democrats, the last chance before those Republicans take over the House.
Right. Well, then we'll go back to times about cloture. All right, next Top Line, starting and stopping. As we just saw with Senator Karl there is a lot of mixed signals going on with the START treaty. Democrats took to the Sunday shows to say that they think they got the votes. Republicans, including the minority leader Mitch McConnell, saying he's not going to vote for it. It doesn't look like we're going to see a START treaty, which in the end, wasn't that President Obama's #1 priority?
Yeah, I certainly right up there with the tax cut bill. And look, we're going to see the first key vote on this tomorrow. They need 60 votes to even begin to move to the process of getting to the vote on the treaty. They will get that. But now here's what I'm looking for also. We have Senator Ron Wyden, who has been diagnosed with cancer, and he has surgery this week at Johns Hopkins up in Baltimore, and he has said that if he is needed for this vote, he will show up on a stretcher, if need be, right out of surgery. So we'll see what happens. Next up, missing Manchin. Nice segue. Senator Joe Manchin, one of the newest members of the body, had a chance to vote on 2 very big issues over the weekend, the Don't Ask, Don't Tell vote and the DREAM Act immigration bill. And Manchin, it turns out, Amy had a holiday party to go to with his family. Very big deal. So he missed 2 of the first biggest votes of his career. Now, to be fair, there were others who missed the vote. Our friend Jim Bunning wasn't around over the weekend. Judd Gregg wasn't around. Orrin Hatch. But, some of those guys are leaving. Some of those guys have been around for a long time. I mean, this is a pretty interesting start for Joe Manchin.
Yeah, and is this just he doesn't want to make enemies with his caucus already? Because these are obviously 2 votes he probably would have voted against.
Almost certainly would have been a no vote on both.
Right. So maybe saying, why don't we not even start with that confrontation yet? I'll get in here, try to make friends first, and then vote against the party. Right. All right. And finally, not so sweet dreams. Okay, we know that the DREAM Act was the one issue that didn't make it through the lame duck. But while we talk a lot about Republicans, there were a number of Democrats, Jon Karl, who voted against this, right? You had the 2 Montanans, Baucus and Tester. You have Pryor in Arkansas. Who else did we have there?
Let's see. We had you had 5 no votes. Manchin, of course, would have been a no vote. But the interesting thing about this is Ben Nelson and Kay Hagan. Yeah. The interesting thing about this is, this is the last chance of a kind of immigration bill that Democrats would be excited about for the foreseeable future, and they could have passed this. They absolutely could have passed.
Well, and it's interesting. Tester already getting blowback from the liberal blogosphere Marcos, saying that he's going to take him down like Blanche Lincoln. Although, didn't Blanche win?
That's right.
That's what I forgot about that.
Exactly. All right. Well, next up, we have an interesting discussion with 4 retiring members of Congress, and retiring because they each lost elections of one form or another. 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans, with some harsh words about the direction Congress is going. Take a listen.
Congress is more dysfunctional today than when I got here 16 years ago, and probably more dysfunctional than any time in the 53 years I've been alive.
But that's an amazing statement. You say that this Congress is more dysfunctional than any you have seen in your entire life.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
How so?
We're not passing budgets. We're not moving appropriations bills. We're not blocking and tackling because the division is so great, it doesn't do them any good to bring it up.
There's more partisanship today than I've seen in the 20 years I've been in Congress.
What do you think?
I think the American people will straighten this out in the long run. I think the partisanship might get uglier before the American people finally blame one party or the other and express their views at the ballot box. You know, Congress doesn't get everything wrong. Our immigration problem is still that millions of people will do anything, including risking their lives, to come into this country. They're not trying to get out of this country. So the country will figure this all out in the long run.
But what do you think about?
Yeah, I don't know, Jonathan. I believe that we're going to go through several more election cycles of crisis, if you will. I saw it in the Republican Party, and the Tea Party, broad Tea Party movement really is quite a bit different than the old Republican conservative movement, if you will, and they're more than willing to take out Republicans, call us Republicans in name only, or whatever it may be. That makes for an added element. It was one thing when you were dealing with Democrats and Republicans. Now you're dealing with divisions within your own party. I assume most Democrats are very concerned that something like that may happen in their party as well. And that is divisive. I suffered in my primary defeat on the basis that I had supported some Democratic legislation, supported the president from time to time, and that was treated as a great sin.
It's very difficult. You know, my background's a social worker, and I thought, well, I have pretty good people skills. Well, it's run up against a wall of people refusing to even sit down and start to talk about an issue. I mean, I think that is true. However, there's something else going on here that I think makes it so difficult, and that is all the special interest money. It is absolutely strangling Congress, and the Supreme Court decision only made it worse.
It's not even about raising money for your own reelection or for your own base, which can make you strong and give you, the ability to serve those people. It's more about the committees now, and these outside groups are going to come in and take more and more people out. And, of course, Mike and I fought that campaign finance battle. I got scars on my back to prove that we fought it, principally to take that outside money out. Soft money, get it out. And now the Supreme Court has said, no, it's back in. So all these factors combined are not a very pretty picture of what 12 and 14 and 16 are going to look like.
Well, in the future, you're going to have to think before you cast a vote against an individual drug company. They could be located in Minnesota and call themselves Texans for lower drug prices, and you vote against them because you believe we should have cheaper imported prescription drugs from Canada. And they can run a $2 million television campaign against you in Central Texas or in Delaware and take you out under the guise of being something they're not.
Part of that is how much time you guys spend raising money.
Oh, it's an enormous amount of time. I raised $3.7 million in this race. But I want to follow up on one of the things Zach said. I think people getting their news from stovepipe sources of information, where people are basically getting the news they want to hear, whether it's Fox on the right or MSNBC on the left, it's making it hard for centrist Democrats. The stovepiping of news is making it hard to elect centrists who I think are critical of the functioning of our checks and balances form of democracy.
It's almost like each side can work with their own set of facts.
And people are listening to what they want to listen to and not hearing any other point of view at all. And that I think is a huge problem affecting politics in America today.
It's not right. I have listened to people on television say things like, well, everybody's on the take in Washington, as if that's a given fact. And I think it just makes people more cynical about the whole process. Or I heard when they were talking about somebody who recently died, and one of the announcers said, there just aren't any good people there anymore. That's not true. That's not true at all.
What's the thing that's most disappointed you about your time here?
I think that what we've been talking about here, a lot of the divisiveness that has gotten worse, I think in the time that I have been here, the fact that it's harder for us to work together to get things done, that has been a source of great frustration for me, and I think for a lot of others in the Congress of the United States. Almost everything falls into that category. That's a problem here.
And in terms of process, I'd agree with Mike. In terms of product, I'm disappointed we leave Congress with the largest deficits in American history.
Yeah, I would say seeing the impact that special interest has, it's been just awful watching this over the past 4 years. And I think it's strangling us. And I think that when the American public feels cynical about that, they're right. As special interests, you see them. They're in the halls of Congress, they're everywhere. We need to clean Washington up. We desperately need to clean them out.
It is a disappointment, having been on the steps of the Capitol with my colleagues on September the 11th, 2001, knowing how important our function was to the American people at that moment going forward and the unity that we had. It's very disappointing to see Congress's approval rating at an all-time low.
And there's no real indication that that turns around anytime soon.
No, we're in a trough for a while, and I think a BRAC-like approach, up or down, tough choice, is the only way we're ever going to get back on the right road.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you all for joining us. And there is, I'm told, life after Congress.
We've heard that.
At least some time off. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.